The LG 40UB 800T, also known as the LG 40UB 8000, 800V, 820V and 800T, is LG's entry-level 4K TV, coming in at just $700 Australian. The LG 40UB 800T, which measures 90cm wide by 53cm tall, makes it the perfect size for mounting it onto your wall, which is exactly what I've done. After picking up a basic wall mount from Kogan and then bolting that into the stud in my wall, I'm able to swing the TV out to watch it from bed, or I can just have it flush against the wall for use at my desk. The LG 40UB 800T measures in at just 4.8cm thick, a very thin form factor making it a very attractive option for wall mounting, which is what I've done. The bezel, measuring just 1cm across, spans the entire TV, only becoming slightly larger on the underside where it houses the on-off button, more on that later, as well as an unobtrusive LG logo and a small light indicating whether it's powered on or not. This is also where the IR sensor for the remote's located. Heading around to the back, the entire TV is made of black plastic, with only a few white stickers and some screw holes detracting from an otherwise discreet appearance. In the centre is a standard 200x200mm VESA mount for attaching a wall mount or other brackets. Alternatively, you can use the included feet which attach to the base of either end of the TV. It has been noted by some that these require a rather long entertainment unit, as opposed to a stand in the middle where the TV can just hang off the edges. On the left hand side of the TV we find one HDMI input, which doubles as a DVI input with the right adapter, as well as 3 USB 3 ports. On the underside there are 2 more HDMI ports, for a total of 3, an antenna port, 2 3.5mm input expansion ports, an optical digital out output, a LAN port and headphones out. On the other side of the TV we find a standard IEC power input. One thing to note about HDMI ports 1 and 3 is that they claim to run 4K at 60Hz. This can be achieved, but only by limiting the colour spectrum. Furthermore, you will need an HDMI 2 compatible graphics card. This is a trade-off you will need to make with this TV. This TV also has built-in Wi-Fi which can connect your home network or create its own hotspot. For this review, I'm running LG's Smart TV software version 04.02.12, which, like most TVs these days, allows me to install a plethora of apps from LG's native app store. Comes preloaded with YouTube and Netflix, as well as a whole variety of other Australian apps, including Big Pond Movies, ABC iView, SBS On Demand, QuickFlix, Fairfax, AFL Game Analyzer, Big Pond TV, and more. Bar the main few listed here, there are no real standout apps in the very small app store. I've not heard of any of the apps in the app store, and they all seem to be of very low quality. An app for Spotify or Pandora would go a long way to making this TV the centre of your living room. You begin on the home screen, which gives you a preview of the input source you have selected, and a few tiles to choose commonly selected features. A relatively big part of the screen is taken up by an ad, which, for a TV that I paid $700 for, is rather poor. The input list screen is overkill for what it is, requiring you to go into a whole new menu page simply to go left or right between your different input sources. It's here that you can name your device or change the sound output. This TV supports ARC, which is sending the audio back to the output device through HDMI port 2. Overall, to change from one HDMI source to another, it takes me 3 clicks and to 3 different screens, which is far too many than required. The settings menu, only accessible via an overlay of whichever source you currently have selected, provides an ample amount of options, everything you'd expect on a TV. One option I'd like to see though, is a way to automatically turn off the screen when there's no input signal being put in, so it acts like a monitor. The software is all controlled with the included Magic Remote. No full-size remote here. This Wiimote-like invention allows for not only regular menu selection options, but also pointing at your TV and clicking on things this way. This works well with no calibration or anything required, unlike a Wii. However, the omission of a full-size remote requires more button clicks than otherwise would be required, and sometimes slight movements of the remote. For example, if you're sitting on the couch and then you move and your remote also moves with you, brings up the whole on-screen menu. Oddly, on the remote, there's a dedicated 3D button when this TV doesn't even support 3D. Furthermore, the green button changes the picture mode to one deemed appropriate for sports, called Soccer Mode. It'd be good if I was able to customise these coloured buttons to do what I want, say for example, going to the different input sources directly. This remote requires 2 AA batteries, which are included. I'll preface this section by saying I'm no picture quality expert. However, I can confirm that this TV is able to display resolutions of 3840 by 2160. Watching House of Cards, which is streamed in 4K via Netflix, looks great. The blacks aren't overly offensive, while the whole image looks sharp. The colours look vibrant enough to my eyes, although I did have to initially reduce the blue when I first got to the TV, after agreeing with online reviews that it added a blue tinge to images. The biggest problem I had with this TV was the small lag I had when running greater than 1080p over HDMI from my computer. I'm pretty sure that this lag stems from the fact that my graphics card, an AMD Radeon 7970, only supports HDMI 1.4. However, it makes 4K resolutions unusable for anything bar movie watching, with the audio output set to the TV. For a while I used XBMC and compensated for this lag by using the software controls. However, this became a hassle when I wanted to watch anything else apart from just what was in XBMC, for example YouTube or play any games. I've ended up changing the output resolution from the computer to 1080p, which has no lag. While this kinda defeats the purpose of a 4K TV, 1080p content still looks good on this TV, and I found that anything greater than 1080p becomes hard to read anyway. I'm still able to use the 4K capabilities of the TV within the Netflix app, which is how I primarily view content through this TV anyway, so that's a useful feature. The built-in speakers are sufficiently loud. The LG 40UB800T is a very inexpensive 4K TV, and I'm very glad I made this purchase for the price I did. Prices for 4K TVs will only come down, but at this point this TV makes for a solid investment. The Netflix app is a killer feature, while built-in Wi-Fi and free HDMI ports allow for a range of different content to be accessed. The physical design of the TV looks fantastic, especially when mounted to the wall. The remote and its associated navigation options are a bit cumbersome, but once you're in the source you want, content looks great. The main problem with the TV is the lag you get when using 4K over HDMI, although I suspect this is an issue with my graphics card, but something to bear in mind. Overall, I recommend this TV for anyone looking for an inexpensive entry into the 4K TV market.